The SOS signal was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was small and shaking like a scared voice in a dark room. It came from a farming world called Valora 9, a quiet place with wide green fields and slow rivers, a place that only sold food and soft metals. No war fleets, no big weapons, only families and workers. The message reached the Galactic Council at midnight cycle. Most seats were empty. Only a few tired officers watched the screens. They expected a weather report or a broken trade request. Then the video opened. A young alien female stood in front of a burning city. Smoke rolled behind her. Sirens cried in the distance. Her hands trembled as she held the camera close. Please, anyone, please. Valora 9 is under attack. We do not know who they are. They came out of dark space. They do not answer calls. They only take. Behind her, a shadow moved across the sky. It was not a normal ship shape. It looked like a long black claw. The officer on duty tried to send help requests, but the signal kept cutting. The girl kept talking faster. They are landing near the shelters. They're breaking doors. They're taking people alive. Please send someone. Please. Then the camera turned, showing a street full of running civilians. Some fell. Some screamed. And strange figures moved through the smoke. Thin, tall shapes with glowing eyes, pulling prisoners into dark carriers. The officer swallowed hard. He sent an emergency meeting call to the council leaders. But the council did not move fast. They argued about borders. They asked for proof. They said it could be pirates. They said it could be a trap. They said the farming world was not important. One commander named Yalin watched the screen alone. He had served in many patrols. He knew fear when he saw it. He knew the enemy was real. He did something illegal. He forwarded the SOS to a hidden contact file, a human station near the outer lanes, a place the council barely trusted, a place humans called Black Harbor. The message took only seconds to travel. A human answered. The human voice was calm, simple, no fear inside it. This is Terran Response Command. Repeat your location. Yalin almost cried with relief. Valora 9. They are taking civilians. The council is delaying. The human voice stayed cold and clear. Copy that. Stand by. Yalin waited, his heart pounding. He expected more questions, more politics, more slow talk. But the human did not waste time. Another voice joined the channel. This one sounded older, like stone and steel. This is Admiral Rhea Monroe, Deathworlder Fleet Command. We received the SOS. We are en route. Yalin froze. Deathworlder Fleet. He had heard stories. Humans from a harsh planet. Humans who trained in storms and heat and hunger. Humans who did not fear pain. Humans who solved problems with force. Yalin whispered, Admiral, Valora 9 is far. It will take days. The Admiral answered, not for us. Then the screen in front of Yalin changed. It showed a deep space gate near Black Harbor, a silent ring floating like a cold moon. And suddenly space lit up. One human warship appeared, then 2, then 10, then a full armada. Huge ships with heavy armor, sharp shapes like knives, lights burning along their hulls, fighters launching from their sides like angry insects. The gate shook as more ships came through, each one larger than the last, until the whole sky looked full of steel. Yalin could not speak. He only watched. The human admiral spoke again. We do not ask permission when civilians are taken. We do not negotiate with hunters. Hold the line if you can. If you cannot, hide. We will clean the sky. The channel ended. Back on the council screens, the Valora 9 SOS was still running. But the girl was no longer speaking. Only screams. Only smoke. Only darkness. The officer in the council hall whispered, we are too late, but far away in deep space. The human armada moved like a storm, silent, fast, and hungry for justice. And as the first human ships entered warp, their flagship sent one simple message to all fleets near Valora 9. No mercy. Not today. The first human ship arrived at Valora 9 like a shadow cutting through the stars. There was no warning flare, no bright warp burst. 1 second the orbit was empty. The next second a gray, armored warship floated above the planet. Its shape was long and sharp, covered in thick plates. Small lights glowed across its body like calm eyes. Behind it, the rest of the Armada began to appear. One by one, dozens, then hundreds. Alien survivors on the last working station watched in terror. They had begged for help, but now they feared the help. A wounded alien captain named Selk held his broken arm and stared at the human ships. He spoke into a weak broadcast channel. Humans do not come here. Leave now. They are not normal raiders. They are hunters. No, answer came at first. Then a human voice filled the channel. Clear and cold. This is Terran Armada Command. Identify the enemy. Selk swallowed. He forced himself to speak. Black ships. Living ships. They move like animals. They took our people from the ground. They do not destroy everything. They collect. The human voice paused, then said one line that made Selk feel strange. Then we will take them back. Below them, the planet burned. Wide patches of land glowed orange. Smoke rolled into the upper sky. And in orbit, dark enemy ships floated like waiting beasts. They were not shaped like metal cruisers. They looked like long claws with curved ribs. Their surfaces swallowed light, and around them small carriers moved toward the surface and back, dragging captured civilians like cargo. The human flagship moved forward, the biggest ship in the Armada. Its hull was darker than the others. Its front was wide like a hammer. Its engines were silent, but it pushed space around it like a heavy thing. Alien sensors tried to read it, but numbers jumped and fell. Mass changed. Heat vanished, then returned. The ship was wrong in a powerful way. The enemy ships reacted fast. They turned their claws toward the humans, and a wave of black darts fired across space. Not missiles, not lasers. Something darker. Something that made the stars behind it dim. One Council cruiser, still trapped in the system, tried to fire back. It was an old ship. Thin shields. Weak guns. It launched a bright beam at the enemy darts. The beam hit nothing. The darts passed through it, then struck the cruiser. The cruiser did not explode. It just went quiet. Lights died. Shields died. And the ship drifted like a dead animal. Selk watched his own people die in silence. His throat closed. His eyes burned. Then the humans moved. The human admiral spoke one order. A simple order. No mercy. The Armada spread out like a net. Fast ships rushing to the sides. Heavy ships forming a wall. Fighters launching in swarms. The enemy darts came again, but this time the human ships did not dodge. They raised strange layered shields. Thin fields that bent space. The darts hit those shields and vanished. As if swallowed. Selk could not believe it. They are eating the enemy attacks. The human flagship fired. A long line of light crossed space. Not bright. More like a thin white needle. It pierced the nearest enemy ship. The enemy ship screamed on open channels. A horrible sound like metal tearing and flesh crying together. Its claw shape twisted, then broke apart into dead pieces. The human fighters rushed in. They did not circle. They did not play safe. They went straight for the carriers near the planet, blasting them apart before they could climb back to orbit. Selk watched a carrier explode, and small escape pods fell free. Hundreds of prisoners inside. Alive. Hope hit him like a wave. But the enemy was not finished. One larger claw ship moved out from behind the moon, bigger than the rest. Its ribs wider, its shadow darker, and from its belly a signal pulsed into space. Doctor scanners caught it. Human scanners caught it faster. The human admiral spoke again, her voice now sharper. They are calling reinforcements. Selk whispered. How many? The human answered. Enough. Then the large claw ship opened like a mouth, and a strange sound rolled across the system, deep and heavy, like a warning from a god of darkness. The human armada did not retreat. It moved closer, forming tighter lines, preparing for something worse. And Selk realized the battle for Valora 9 was only the beginning, because the real enemy had just heard the humans arrive. The enemy scream did not fade. It became a pulse, a steady beat moving through space like a drum. Every time it pulsed, the stars around the large claw ship looked dimmer, as if the light was tired. On the human flagship, the bridge lights stayed calm. No panic, only quick voices and focused eyes. Screens showed the enemy signal spreading outward, calling something far away. Admiral Rhea Monroe watched it with cold patience. She had seen this before in old reports, but never this close to a living world. A Marine officer named Jace stood beside her. His armor helmet was under his arm. His face was hard like stone. He looked at the planet below, at the burning fields, at the smoke rising like a black ocean. He asked permission to drop teams to the surface. Rhea shook her head. Not yet. First we stop the collectors. Then we pull survivors. Then we cut the throat of that caller. Outside the viewing window, human fighters danced through orbit. Fast and sharp, they hunted the smaller carriers. Each time a carrier exploded, escape pods fell free. Each pod was a tiny hope drifting through fire. On the alien station, Selk watched the pods and cried quietly. He did not wipe his tears. He kept sending rescue pings, hoping humans would pick them up. Then a new thing happened. One human scout ship flew near a destroyed enemy claw. Its scanners touched the wreck, and the ship instantly screamed through the human network. Contact on the wreck. Movement inside. Is still alive. Admiral Rhea leaned forward. Bring it in. Human tractor fields pulled the broken claw toward a containment bay. Metal doors opened. The dead alien ship slid inside, and heavy force walls sealed it. Every human on the ship felt tension rise, because they were bringing a monster inside their own hull. In the containment bay, the claw wreck twitched. Its ribs moved like breathing. Dark fluids dripped from cuts that were not metal cuts, more like wounds. Dr. Mara Quinn stepped forward. She was not a soldier, but her eyes were brave. She scanned the wreck carefully. This is not a ship, she whispered. It is a grown shell, a living frame, and something is nested inside. A Marine raised his weapon. What is inside? Mara did not answer fast. She watched the scan lines. Then her face turned pale. A beacon organ. It is still pulsing. That means it is still connected to the hive. Admiral Rhea spoke into the bay speaker. Can we shut it down? Mara shook her head. If we cut it wrong, it will scream louder. It will call the fleet faster. At that moment, the wreck opened. A long, thin shape slid out, like a shadow with claws. It moved too fast. It leaped toward the force wall and slammed into it with anger. The wall held, but every light in the bay flickered once, as if the creature pulled power from the air. The Marines fired bullets and energy shots, but the creature did not bleed like normal. It only twisted. Its eyes glowed, and it made a sound that felt like pressure in the brain. Some Marines fell to one knee, holding their heads, gritting teeth. Admiral Rhea watched the feed. Her voice stayed steady. Do not look into its eyes. Use sound dampeners. Use shock nets. The Marines obeyed. They threw nets that flashed with electric force. The creature jerked, then fell. Still alive, still fighting, but trapped. Mara whispered, it is intelligent. It is a hunter, and it is sending a live report back to its hive. Admiral Rhea clenched her fist. Then our time is shorter. Outside in space, the large claw ship pulsed again, stronger than before. The signal wave rolled across the system like a dark tide. Human scanners flashed red. Multiple warp shadows detected. Far beyond the moon. Far beyond the edge of the lane. Jace looked at Rhea. They are coming. Rhea nodded once. Her eyes sharp. Good. Now we learn how hungry they are. She turned to the fleet command channel. All ships tighten formation. Protect the rescue pods. Prepare the kill zone. No one leaves. No one runs. On the alien station, Selk watched the sky fill with human ships, and he finally felt safe for 1 second. Then the moon's shadow changed. A massive shape began to appear behind it, slowly, silently, so large it blocked stars as it moved. Selk whispered with fear, that is not a ship, that is a moving night. And the humans saw it too. The Hive fleet had arrived, and Valora 9 was about to become the first battlefield of a much bigger war. The Hive fleet came out of the dark like a rising ocean. One shadow became 10. 10 became 50. Then hundreds of living claw ships filled the space behind the moon. They moved in a perfect silent curve, like a pack of wolves surrounding prey. Their bodies drank the starlight, and the system looked colder just because they were there. On the human flagship, Admiral Rhea Monroe watched the numbers climb. Her officers waited for fear, but her face stayed calm. Only her eyes became sharper. Fleet channel open. She said, "Hold formation. Protect the rescue pods. No hero moves alone." Human ships tightened into a wall. Heavy cruisers in the center. Fast ships on the sides. Fighters hiding behind them like daggers waiting for the right second. On the alien station, Selk could barely breathe. He watched the hive ships spread toward the planet. The enemy wanted the ground. They wanted the people. They wanted the mass of a living world. The large enemy caller ship pulsed again. The sound shook the station walls, and the hive fleet answered with a deeper hum, a sound that felt like hunger. Then the first strike came. Enemy ships fired black darts again, but now it was a storm. Thousands of darts crossing space like dark rain. They hit human shields and vanished. But the pressure of them was heavy. Some shields flickered. Some human ships drifted back a little. Rhea spoke one word. Now, the human armada fired together. Bright lines of light cut through space. Heavy plasma shots, long rail rounds, and strange white needles that looked thin but deadly. Human weapons did not fade. They punched. They broke. They tore into enemy ships like hammers. 3 claw ships exploded into dead pieces. Then 5. Then 10. But the hive did not stop. It pushed forward, closing distance, trying to reach the planet. One enemy ship rushed toward a human cruiser and opened its ribs wide. Inside it glowed a deep black core. It was preparing a gravity net. The net fired, and space around the human cruiser twisted. The cruiser began to slow. Its engine screamed, but could not move, like it was trapped in thick mud. Alien observers on the station cheered too early, thinking a human ship would fall. Then the human cruiser did something brutal. It turned its nose forward. It increased power beyond safe limits, and it rammed through the net. Metal screamed. Armor plates cracked, but the ship broke free and fired point blank into the enemy core. The claw ship died instantly. Its body went limp and cold. Selk whispered, "Humans are insane." On the human flagship, Marine officer Jace watched the battle map. A red line blinked. Enemy carriers still dropping teams to the surface. They are still taking civilians. He said. Rhea nodded. "Then we go inside. Drop teams." She ordered. "Cut the carriers. Rescue everyone you can. If the hive wants bodies, we deny them bodies." Boarding pods launched from human ships. Small metal bullets flying into the enemy carriers. They struck the living hulls and dug in. Then exploded doors open. Jace led the first wave. His team moved through dark, wet tunnels inside the carrier. Walls pulsed like muscles. The air smelled like acid and fear. Alien prisoners were trapped in hanging cages, their eyes wide, their mouths silent from shock. Human Marines cut them free, carried the weak, guided the strong, and fought the hunters in tight corridors. The hunters came from the walls, thin, fast creatures with glowing eyes. They screamed in the mind again, trying to break human focus. But humans wore dampeners. They used flash grenades. They used shock nets. They used rage. Jace fired his rifle into a hunter chest. It fell, still twitching, still alive, until he crushed its skull with his boot. Selk watched the surface feed. Humans landing in burning streets, carrying alien children, pulling families into safety shelters. While explosions lit the sky, hope rose again. But the hive fleet was still growing. A new shadow moved forward in the enemy line, bigger than the claw ships, wide like a floating fortress, its back covered in giant ribs, and at its center was a hollow circle, a mouth large enough to swallow a cruiser. Dr. Mara Quinn on the human flagship saw it and turned pale. "Admiral, that is a queen ship." Rhea stared at the giant mouth. Her voice lowered. "So the real monster is here." The queen ship opened wider, and the space around it began to bend, as if gravity itself was being pulled into its throat. Selk felt his station shake. like the system was starting to fall inward. And in that moment, every human knew. The Hive Fleet did not come to fight. It came to eat the entire world. And the next move would decide if Valora 9 lived or vanished into darkness forever. The Queen's ship moved forward slowly, not rushing, not afraid, like a giant beast that knows nothing can hurt it. Its hollow mouth pulled on space. Stars near it stretched into thin lines. Debris and broken ships drifted toward it like dust into a vacuum. Even some enemy claw ships were dragged closer. But they did not resist. They wanted to be near their queen. On the human flagship, Admiral Rhea Monroe felt the pressure on every screen. Gravity readings were rising. Orbit lines were bending. The planet below was trembling again. An officer shouted, "The Queen is pulling the planet. Tide waves are rising." Ground quakes reported across the surface. Rhea did not panic. She looked at the battle map and made a hard choice. All boarding teams return now. She ordered, "Rescue pods first. Pull every survivor into the fleet pocket." Jace on the ground heard the order. He hated it, but he obeyed. His Marines carried injured aliens to shuttle ramps. They pushed civilians inside. They sealed doors. Then they ran toward extraction fire. Above them, the sky was full of battle. Human fighters burning through enemy carriers. Enemy claws tearing at human shields. And the Queen's ship hanging in the center like the end of everything. Selk on the alien station watched the Queen mouth grow darker. It was pulling more than ships. It was pulling hope. And a strange thing happened. Human ships stopped firing. One by one, their guns went quiet. Their lights dimmed. Even their fighters pulled back behind the heavy wall. The enemy claw ships reacted like hungry animals. They rushed forward, thinking humans were afraid, thinking humans were weak. The Queen's ship hummed deeper, and its mouth opened wider, ready to swallow the first human cruiser. Selk whispered, "Why do they stop? Why are the humans stopping?" On the human flagship, Rhea spoke on Fleet Channel. "All ships follow Phase Shadow. We are bait now. Hold your breath." Doctors and engineers looked confused, but veteran captains understood. They turned off outer lights. They shut down obvious signals. They lowered heat output, and the human armada became darker, harder to read. The enemy hive pushed closer, smelling a kill. Then the trap closed. Far from the planet, near an asteroid belt, human ships had already placed silent mines. Not explosive mines, gravity mines. Small dart devices that changed the pull of space in a sharp line. When the Hive fleet crossed that line, the mines woke up. Space snapped. Enemy ships suddenly drifted sideways. Their formation broke. Their claws hit each other. Their living hulls screamed through open channels. Confused and angry, the Queen's ship tried to adjust, but its own gravity pull fought the mine pull. And for the first time, the giant beast looked unstable. Rhea raised her hand. Now, human ships lit up again. Guns fired together. Not random, not loud, but precise. Every shot aimed at the same target. The Queen mouth rim. White needle weapons struck first. Thin beams that cut living ribs like paper. Then heavy rail rounds hit the open mouth edges, driving deep into the dark core. The Queen's ship roared. A terrible sound that shook every mind. Even humans felt it. A flood of anger and pain. Selk covered his ears. His vision blurred. He felt like drowning. The Queen answered with a gravity wave. It hit the Armada like a fist. Several human ships drifted back. Some shields cracked. One cruiser lost engines and began to fall toward the Queen. Rhea did not let it be eaten. She gave a brutal order. Ram protocol. The damaged cruiser turned its nose forward. Its captain did not hesitate. Thrusters burned red, and the ship slammed into the Queen mouth. Deep, hard, like a spear into a heart. The impact shook the system. Metal broke. Living ribs shattered. Black fluid sprayed into space like ink. The cruiser died, but it wounded the Queen badly. Human fighters rushed in. They dropped bright charges inside the broken mouth, then pulled away fast. The charges exploded. Not fire, not flame. A burst of white light that collapsed gravity for 1 second. The Queen mouth folded inward. like a throat crushed by invisible hands. The Hive fleet screamed. Many claw ships went wild. Some crashed. Some fled. Some attacked blindly. Selk stared at the screen. Humans were winning. But it was not over. Because the Queen was still alive. Its mouth still moving. Closing. Opening. Trying to pull again. Dr. Mara Quinn whispered. Admiral, the Queen is calling the full Hive now. This was only the first wave. Rhea clenched her jaw. Then we finish it before they arrive. She turned to the flagship weapon console. Armada, prepare, final strike. No Mercy Phase 2. And Deep Space answered with another shadow. A new warp mark, bigger than before. The Hive was coming, and the humans had only one chance. To kill the Queen, before the galaxy drowned in darkness. The Queen's ship drifted wounded, but still hungry. Its broken ribs floated around it like dead bones. Black fluid spread across space in slow clouds. Yet the hollow mouth kept moving, opening and closing, pulling on anything near it. On the human flagship, Admiral Rhea Monroe watched the long-range scanner. New warp shadows were forming beyond the edge of the system. More Hive ships, more waves, the full swarm answering the Queen's scream. An officer whispered, "We do not have time." Rhea answered, "Then we do not waste time." Fleet channel open. She spoke. All ships form spear formation. We strike the Queen core. We end this now. No mercy. Human ships move together. Tight. Fast. Like a single blade. Fighters pulled back behind the heavy wall. Boarding teams returned with the last rescued civilians. Shuttles docked. Doors sealed. Selk on the alien station saw rescue pods moving into the human shield pocket. Hundreds of survivors alive. Crying, holding each other, some even praying to humans. Jace returned to the flagship with ash on his armor. He had saved a small alien child. The child did not speak, only held his hand with weak fingers. Jace placed the child into medical care. Then he went straight to the bridge, ready to die if needed. Rhea looked at him. How many saved? Jace breathed hard. Thousands, maybe more, but many are still on the ground. Rhea closed her eyes for 1 second, then opened them again. Her voice became colder. We stop the Queen. If the swarm arrives, no one lives. Not them. Not us. Night fell across the battle zone. Because human ships shut down their outer lights again. The Armada became a moving shadow, sliding closer to the Queen. Enemy claw ships tried to block them, but they were confused. Their formation broken by the gravity mines. And their Queen pain. Human fighters flashed out suddenly, like knives in the dark. They struck enemy engines. They cut carrier lines. They cleared a path. The Queen's ship saw the spear coming. It pulled harder. Space bent inward. Debris and dead ships rushed toward its mouth, trying to build a wall of broken metal. Rhea did not slow. She raised her hand, released the anchor rounds. From the human flagship, special weapons launched. Small dark spheres, silent, fast. They flew past the debris wall and locked around the Queen's ship like a ring. The spheres activated, and gravity changed. The Queen's ship stopped pulling. Its mouth froze half open, like a beast suddenly choked. Its body trembled. Its ribs tried to move, but could not. Dr. Mara Quinn whispered, "We pinned it. We pinned the Queen." Selk could not believe it. The biggest monster in the sky, stuck like prey. Rhea spoke. "Now we cut the heart." The spear formation rushed forward. Heavy ships in front. Fast ships on the sides. The flagship in the center. All guns aimed at one point inside the hollow mouth. The Queen screamed again. A mind sound. A wave of fear and rage. Some humans felt their vision blur. Some heard voices in their heads. But humans did not stop. They came from a death world. Pain was not new. Fear was not master. Jace gripped the rail. His teeth clenched. He whispered, "Keep moving." The flagship fired its final weapon. A white needle beam, thicker than before. Stable. Sharp. It stabbed into the Queen mouth. Straight through the dark core. Into the hidden center. The Queen body arched. Its ribs cracked. Then the core began to glow. Not with fire. With collapsing gravity. Rhea shouted, "All ships back. Now." Human ships pulled away fast. Fighters diving behind them. Shields raising. Then the Queen collapsed. Its hollow mouth folded inward, its body crushed by its own broken gravity, like a star dying in silence. A dark flash spread across space. Not bright, not loud, just a sudden, empty wave. And then the Queen's ship was gone. Not destroyed, not broken, gone. Every Hive ship in the system froze. Their movement stopped. Their claws went limp, like puppets with cut strings. One by one they drifted, dead, empty, lifeless. Selk fell to the floor, laughing and crying together. On the human flagship, the scanner officer shouted, "The warp shadows are fading. The swarm signal is dying." The Hive fleet beyond the system stopped coming. Their Queen call was gone. Their hunger line broken. Rhea did not celebrate. She watched the planet below, still burning, still hurt. She opened a wide broadcast to the Galactic Council. Valora 9 is safe. Your people are alive. Next time you hear an SOS, do not wait. Because hunters love delay, and humans will always answer. But we may not always arrive in time. The message ended. Jace looked at the stars, at the dead enemy ships drifting like ash. He whispered to himself, "No mercy," and far away in deep space, silence returned. But every human knew the truth. The Hive would not forget this pain. And one day, it would come looking for Earth. Only next time, it would come ready.